Baik, Pak Andi, silakan
Terima kasih
ditanggapi lagi.
Petrus.
Ya,
Terima
silakan.
kasih Petrus. Suara saya jelas ya.
Jelas, jelas.
Terima kasih teman-teman semua, Bapak Ibu. Terima kasih udah meluangkan waktunya siang ini di tengah-tengah situasi yang seperti ini, dan terima kasih juga teman-teman ada yang sudah bersama-sama dengan kita dari 14 tahun lalu ya. Jadi saya cuma merefresh aja sih perjalanan Sterling, dan apa sih yang kita mesti siapkan juga untuk ke depan. Jadi hari ini kita sama-sama mau belajar sih, termasuk kami dari Sterling. Oke, ini webinar rule-nya sudah di chat room ya, tadi di chatting ya. Saya review sekilas saja. Jadi Sterling, buat teman-teman yang mungkin baru join onboarding sama kita juga, mungkin ini sejarahnya kita refresh saja. Jadi Sterling sendiri founded itu 2007. Jadi saya sama Petrus sebelumnya kami profesional. Jadi kami sekitar 17 tahun sebelumnya profesional. Jadi saat ini Sterling sendiri memasuki tahun ke-14. Dan kita berjalan bersama-sama dengan SAP dari tahun 2007. 2008 kami launching produk yang namanya iRip. Nah, kebetulan dari awal juga kita sudah kenal dengan Pak Yongki nih. Pak Yongki banyak bantu kita juga. Jadi iRip ini produk kita, dan dari awal kita sudah paten atas nama Sterling dari 2008. 2011 kita jadi Gold Partner. Lalu 2015 dan 2016 kami melihat bahwa dengan teman-teman asosiasi, banyak asosiasi, kita melihat bagaimana kita bisa membantu pengusaha mikro kecil. Akhirnya kami meluncing iRip ini dalam platform yang lebih simple, dengan format yang lebih simple. Jadi kalau sebelumnya iRip itu sangat untuk perusahaan menengah ke atas ya, terintegrasi dengan SAP Business One yang selama ini teman-teman retailer pakai. Jadi teman-teman di sini mungkin ada teman-teman yang dari Planet Surf, sudah 13 tahun ya bersama-sama dengan kami. Ada teman-teman dari Times juga yang baru beberapa tahun terakhir dari Times International. Lalu kami melihat bagaimana kami membantu iRip ini untuk pengusaha mikro kecil. Jadi kami rilis tahun 2015-2016 di Android, Bapak Ibu. Jadi Bapak Ibu bisa nanti lihat kami ada iRip ada di Google Play dari tahun 2015-2016. 2016 lalu kami launching produk namanya bukan produk sih, sorry, website SAP Business One Tips. Jadi dengan memberikan website ini tujuannya tadinya untuk tim kami sebenarnya saling belajar knowledge-nya supaya nggak hilang. Tetapi dalam perjalanannya kami merasa lebih baik kita publish sehingga customer kami bisa belajar juga. Akhirnya kita publish sama sekali ke open. Jadi siapapun saat ini bisa mengakses, termasuk teman-teman dari partner yang lain. 2017 kami rilis lagi software di Google Play. Nah, software ini khusus buat stock opnam, Bapak Ibu. Dan kebetulan software ini gratis. Jadi tadi saya lupa bilang yang iRip Lite itu yang 2015 juga gratis buat pengusaha mikro. Lalu 2017 kami rilis stock count ini di Google Play juga, dan ini juga gratis. Lalu 2018 kami juga rilis membership buat customer kami. Saat ini udah berjalan ya buat teman-teman Planet Surf dan Toying Market ya. Jadi teman-teman yang customernya Planet Surf dan Toying Market bisa jadi member mereka tuh di Google Play. Ada aplikasinya, itu kami membantu mereka mengextend solusi retailnya sehingga customer mereka bisa punya membership di mobile. Lalu terakhir kami baru launch di saat-saat krisis ini aplikasi kecil juga yang buat membantu pengusaha mikro adalah Invoice. Bagaimana kita bisa membantu profesional ya yang bekerja sendirian gitu ya, seperti fotografer, jasa fotografer dan lain-lain, membuat tagihan invoice lewat Android, lewat telepon Android aja. Oke. Nah, ini sekedar perjalanan kami jadinya. Sebelah kanan ini adalah fokus kami sejak dari tahun 2017, yaitu kita bilangnya large business ya kalau di Indonesia. Jadi yang revenue-nya kata pemerintah itu lebih dari 50 miliar IDR, itu yang biasanya kita implement SAP Business One. Lalu seperti yang tadi saya sampaikan, sejak 2015 jadi kami sudah masuk juga membantu pengusaha mikro. Dan sampai hari ini gratis, jadi udah berjalan sekitar 5 tahun lebih ya, 5 tahun setengah. Untuk aplikasi ini di Android gratis dan bisa buat warung-warung. So, kita terima kasih juga buat customer-customer kita yang terus mendukung kita, sehingga kita juga bisa melakukan hal-hal ini, di mana kita juga bisa menolong pengusaha-pengusaha mikro ya, atau mom and pop store. Oke, ini sekedar refresh saja award dari SAP, jadi kita juga menerima add-on retail, recognition dari SAP Indonesia, lalu solusi-solusi yang dari kita, terakhir di 2018 ya, kami implement HANA terbanyak ya di Indonesia. Oke, ini status saja saat ini, ada 200 company, legal entity yang saat ini kami ada di ada di support PT Sterling. Kami berterima kasih buat teman-teman semua. 60 lebih ada di SAP HANA saat ini, which is yang teknologi SAP yang terbaru. Total users sekitar 2.400, mungkin per akhir tahun ini sekitar 2.600-an total user SAP-nya. Dan untuk POS terminal sekitar 15.000 ya, Bapak Ibu, yang tersebar di seluruh Indonesia, POS terminal, yang menggunakan brand Airip tadi itu. Nah, ini website yang kami buat untuk sharing mengenai SAP Business One tips khusus ya, yang tadinya kita ingin gunakan hanya untuk internal, tapi akhirnya kita berikan ke teman-teman semua. Nah, ini saat ini sudah 450 tips free, dan setiap minggu at least ada 2 tips baru yang kita upload, dan ini semua tulisan dari teman-teman di Sterling, semua teman-teman konsultan di Sterling, apakah technical atau functional consultant. Jadi feel free kalau teman-teman mau belajar atau googling, mungkin ketemu juga tips-tips SAP Business One di website ini. Oke, what next setelah SAP? Apa sih yang kita dari Sterling saat ini kita lakukan? Pertama-tama ini, suaranya bisa keluar ya?
Oke, keluar.
Hai Google, bicara dengan SAP Business One. Berapa keuntungan saya bulan ini?
Hai Google, bicara dengan SAP Business One. Apa barang yang paling disukai?
Sejak beberapa dekade yang lalu, manusia berusaha mencari cara untuk mendapatkan informasi dengan cepat dan mudah. Dengan perkembangan teknologi, hal ini menjadi semakin mungkin. Salah satu strategi dari SAP adalah Intelligent Enterprise.
Bicara dengan SAP Business.
Sip, saya hubungkan ke SAP Business. Halo guys, ada yang bisa saya bantu?
Top 5 piutang.
Top 5 piutang. 1. Sumber Setia PT 2. Komputer Sentosa PT 3. Makmur Indah Terbuka PT 4. Solusi Sejati PT 5. Berlian Komputer PT.
Top 5 sales.
Top 5 penjualan. 1. Makmur Indah Terbuka PT 2. Arya Mega Teknik CV 3. Komputer Sentosa PT 4. Sumber Setia PT 5. Berlian Komputer PT.
Thank you.
Untuk video-video lainnya teman-teman bisa nanti mampir ke YouTube channel kami. Jadi ini salah satunya di yang kami sedang mempersiapkan untuk ke depan, sehingga bagaimana data SAP itu bisa kita ambil dengan cepat melalui Google Assistant ya. Jadi tanpa screen SAP lagi. Lalu kami juga invest di Baku.global. Jadi Baku.global ini adalah perusahaan IoT yang fokus untuk saat ini ke peternakan ayam. Jadi mereka membuat peralatan dan sensor supaya bisa menangkap kondisi kandang ayam. Nah, jadi nanti juga ada seperti ini kira-kira, lalu data ini akan kita kumpulkan dan kita akan integrate di SAP. Kalau hari ini data di SAP itu kita bisa udah dapat profit and loss by kandang ayam ya. kenapa kandang ayam ini mati dan lain-lain. Buat teman-teman yang sudah menggunakan sampai di mobile application juga kita bisa input ya, hari ini kandang ayam mana mati berapa ekor, dikasih vitamin apa, dikasih makan apa, sehingga kita bisa dapat profit and loss by kandang ya. Nah nanti ini kita sekarang lagi prototype, kita lagi sedang nyoba ya. Nah ini akan kita tarik juga, sehingga pada saat kita tahu bahwa kenapa kandang ayam ini banyak yang mati ayamnya, mungkin karena kondisinya, temperatur dan humidity-nya segala macam kurang ideal sehingga dia mati. Sehingga kita berharap bisa improve produksi dan P&L per kandangnya. Jadi ini dua hal yang kita masih prototype saat ini. Oke, dan terakhir ini iRip. iRip adalah produk POS kami yang tadi itu untuk pengusaha mikro kecil, dan saat ini kami juga sudah mengimplement, sebenarnya kita mulai mengimplement chatbot ya Bapak Ibu. Nanti Bapak Ibu bisa coba. Baru dua bulan berjalan kami mencoba ini, sehingga karena iRip ini adalah global seluruh dunia, jadi kita digunakan di seluruh dunia. Nah kadang-kadang kita nggak punya tim support 24 jam, kita cuma punya kantor masih 8 jam. Nah karena itu akhirnya kami menggunakan chatbot. Nah, walaupun belum perfect, tapi kita terus sempurnakan, kita melatih terus si mesin ini supaya dia bisa sempurna lama-lama menjawab user ya, menjawab user. Nah ini hal-hal yang mungkin nanti Paulo akan membagikan ya, ke kita nih di global trennya udah seperti apa dan segala macam. Nah, pada saat yang bersamaan kita juga di Sterling terus melakukan pengujian ini dan berusaha mengimplementasikannya di dalam perusahaan kita sendiri terlebih dahulu. Dari saya kira-kira gitu, kita langsung aja ke Paulo. Jadi Paulo posisinya tadi saya barusan cek 12.673 km, yang sebenarnya kita we are very privileged ya to have Paulo with us actually. Jadi mungkin kalau acara biasa ini sangat sulit mendatangkan dia, tapi dengan webinar ini kita bisa mendatangkan Paulo langsung nih. Live ya. Sekedar introduction, tadi Pak itu sudah menyampaikan sendiri, Paulo Almeida adalah Head of SAP Business One dan SAP Business by Design ya, marketing, tapi he in charge of global marketing basically. Has been with SAP 24 years ya. Jadi I met Paulo a couple times in SAP global event ya. Every year, it's been like 4 or 5 years. So it's very exciting. I hope you can all learn from him. Yeah. So Paulo, the stage is yours. Please welcome Paulo.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay. Sound good?
Yes.
Excellent.
Loud and
Thank
clear.
you. Thank you very, very, very much, Andy. And it's a true privilege. And it's my privilege to be here. Okay. And first of all, my apologies. I can only speak in Portuguese, Spanish, and English. Okay. I've been in Indonesia for one time to the island of Bali, and I've been first in Ubud, and then into Nusa Dua. And in Nusa Dua, yes, I was able to do a little bit of surfing. So I would I will try to speak slowly, paused. If anyone want to raise a question of I'm speaking too fast, Andy, you stop me and say, Paulo, go slowly. Sure. Okay? Agreed? Yeah. First things first, thank you very, very, very much for being here. It's my privilege to be here and share a little bit our view that is 100% matching what you just showed us. I was not able to understand 100%, only 10%, but I believe you did exactly that. You took Business One as the development platform, and then you created on top. To do what? To match the business of the persons that are listening and watching to us. They have a unique business, a unique industry, and they don't need a standard solution like Business One only. No, they need Business One, and they need something on top to make their business unique and differentiate from the competition. So this is my intention. I'm not sharing yet any kind of slides. So my idea is, on the next 45 minutes, I will give you also tips and tricks, examples on how other customers, other companies are doing in other parts of the world. And then it's up to you. It's up to you to take it, you as an owner of a business and say, I want to do it because I want to grow. I want to succeed in these crazy times with COVID-19. Okay, so let's start this. I will share my screen. And I need, where is it? You give me permission rights to share, right? Ta-da! Stop video. Share screen. There, it was a green button, and I was not able to do it.
Can you?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I can. I think I can. If I not, I'm going to ask your help because I need to share also the sound of the PC. Let me see. The sound, and in theory, it is going to be this screen. I'm going to share. And I'm going to now do slideshow. Sorry for looking left because it's, you know that. Can you see my screen? It has a big wave and someone is riding the wave.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Cool. So again, 45 minutes of your life. I'm starting now doing the counter. The idea is to give you ideas on actually how we see that we can prepare you to this explosive growth. Because COVID-19, let's face it, it's a question of time. 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year. But this will pass, right? And once it passes, and we have the vaccine, then we are ready for growth. But in my point of view, in our point of view, you need to prepare your company to this growth. And on the next 45 minutes, I'm going to give you ideas how to prep for the growth. By the way, this is not fake. This was 1 month ago, and this is not me, unfortunately. I started surfing too late. I started only when I was 40. So believe me, I cannot do this 30 meters wave. And this is in the north of Portugal, Nazaré. So if anyone likes to surf, you can text me, and then we'll send to you a couple of these pictures and also videos on someone is able to ride the big wave. And I need you to be ready to ride this big wave. You, our customers, and yes, our potential customers, to ride this big wave that is going to happen. And in my point of view, straight to the point, we cannot have you ready to this explosive growth if you're not ready for the digital transformation that is happened, and is exploding also right now. This is what I say. You cannot have an explosive growth if you're not ready for digital transformation. So in order to help you to be ready for digital transformation, my idea is to split this in 2 blocks. The first 25 minutes, I will give you concepts, yes, theory, about in terms of what is digital transformation and how it actually is impacting your business. And on the last second part, I'll give you ideas on how actually you can do it. Okay? So let's do this. Digital transformation, bring up value to your company. How we going to do that? Following agenda. Again, concepts of digital transformation. Why is this important? And how you can take actually advantage of it. And yes, we'll have time for Q&A. So Andy, you know me. You know me that even though I have a global job, I'm not a global. I usually don't have this global procedure of a perfect presentation, and I always do something crazy and fun. And the first thing I want to challenge you is to do this magic trick. Why I'm doing this magic trick? I want you to remember this moment in your lives when Paulo, crazy one from Lisbon, gave you the magic trick, because most likely this will be the day that you decide to change your company. And why not? You have this moment that you memorize, saying the magic trick is the moment that I changed my company, because I took a decision to change it after listening to Andy and after listening to Paulo and after listening to all the speakers. So let's do one thing. Very simple. Think about the number between 5 to 10. In my case, I'm going to think about 5, okay? And count the number from the start, means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to land here in the cowl. Okay, 5 to 10, pick your number. Second one, starting from the circle after the one that we landed, count it backwards. So it means I landed on the cow, I'm going to start counting the same 5 from the rabbit. In this case, clockwise. And why we're saying this? Because keep your eye on the circle that you actually landed. And usually we say that if you believe on us, you should be landing on the right circle. Please tell me that you, Andy, at least you landed on the right circle, okay? This is, for me, the platform. This is what we can give to you. And the platform that can help you evolve. Let's do one thing. Let's go back really fast. This is the only side I'm going to speak about the past, okay? Let's think about the 60s and the 80s. I was not born on the 60s. I was born in 1973. But I do remember that back on close to the 80s, it's all about the mainframe computing and the emerging of the personal computers. Having a personal computer was like super mega expensive back on the 80s and 70s. And we call it, this was the industrial automation. What I'm giving you the analogy is technology was driving the industrial automation. Second thing, 90s and 20s. Yes, I was on school. And in the 90s and 20s, everything was about internet. But it was not google.com. On that time, I had the yahoo.com, okay? And yes, PCs and laptops pop up exponentially. You could not go to a company and say you're only going to work with a pencil and paper. No, PCs were there. Again, technology led to this thing, business process automation, okay? Let's go for the next 10 years, 2000 to 2010. 2010 was the explosion of one thing, mobile. And yes, I have even two mobiles. I need it, one personal, one other professional. And this mobile led to one thing. This mobile was pushing for the rising of the social networks that together with the cloud computing led to the digital transformation. Let's go for the next 10, from 2010 to 2020 and upwards. We on SAP, we are betting on one thing. We are betting on in the intelligent enterprise. But again, intelligent enterprise, what does it mean? Digital transformation. Intelligent enterprise is the concept. Translated to you, to your company, what does it mean? What we say is a lot is happening technology-wide. We have the intelligent, artificial intelligence. We do have machine learning. And you need to take advantage of it to transform your company. And the concept we're saying is intelligent. My saying is take your company to the next level. Take advantage of everything that exists to transform your company. Okay? And if you are a CEO, we know that you are doing one thing. You are trying to find the next big thing that will transform your company. This is what worries you, and this is our job, to try to help you find the next innovation. If you are responsible for HR, you're not worried about paying the salaries because you go and work on the company and the systems evolved and the salary, it's going to be paid. You are worried about one thing, is how you can actually take the information that you have and engage better with your employees. Because right now, the next generation is not like you and I, I'm 47 by the way, that we were tied to the organization. The next generation is all about them. And you need to understand it in order to take the best out of it. If you are a salesperson or a marketing person and a marketing responsible, a head of sales, you are worried about one thing is, yes, understand what the customers really need and understand the whole customer behavior and customer journey. To do what? To make them faithful to you. Because you know that the money, the best benefit for your company will come from the second, the third, and the fourth sales. Because this customer that recurringly buy from you will be a better customer. Last but not the least, if you are a CIO, IT director, yes, a couple of years ago would be the first one on the chart. Don't take me wrong, you are still important to us. And in what I say is your role and your responsibility is to take the information, the intelligence that exists in your system and give it to your peers. Give it to the sales director, to the CEO, to the HR, and make them work in a different way. Okay? But what you need to do is tough. Because imagine, what you need to do is consume the whole thing, and there's tons and thousands of papers and information that is available. It's a never-ending story of content that you have in order to make your company ready. And even these 45 minutes will be another deck, another presentation, another information that you need to consume. So what we say is, do me a favor, take all of this, put it in a funnel, together with your team, and try to create one thing is, what are the insights that you want to control? Because you know these are going to impact your company. What I'm saying is, take your business and identify the big rocks. The things that in your point of view need to understand if they have changed or not. And if they have changed, how you can take the best out of it. Talking about technology trends that impact your company. Digital transformation related topics, not impacting directly your company, but impacting where your company works on, the society. The direct impact that the way that you work together with your customers and also your partners, the whole value chain. What about innovation? When was the last time that you implemented innovation in your company? New business models. Can you think about working with your company in a different way? And yes, SAP solutions. Do you know everything that SAP Business One does today that would not do 10 years ago? You would be surprised. So what we say is, you as owners of the companies need to take it and try to create a logic behind it. The thing is, you may think, okay, I'm going to start with technology trends and going to SAP solutions, new business models, customer partners, and so on. Heads up, this requires multiple interactions. This is not a linear thing. It says that you can start by connecting the technology trends and rapidly realize that you need to connect it all. Okay? Don't get lost. Then the next step is try to find out of this, in this case, 6, what is the number one? The number one that you believe that is going to transform your business. Again, exponential growth. Let's take one example. I'm going to give the example of Amazon, but in a different way. The ones that know Amazon, they know that they start by selling books. It was an online book store. I remember I was buying books from Amazon. Then on top, they decide to sell more than just books. They basically sell everything. And now they are one of the largest providers of cloud infrastructure. I repeat, they start by selling books, change the business to sell everything, and now they sell space in digital systems in order for even us, SAP, to host our systems there. So what we can say is, out of these 6 technology trends, Amazon realized this is going to change, and I have the infrastructure, and I'm going to take a benefit for it because I want exponential growth, and I want to change my company. Okay? Let's go for one second example. Under Armour. Under Armour is one of my favorite brands in terms of the sports. And Under Armour did it in a different way. Under Armour implemented a system that when you actually buy their shoes, you connect with them, and then you feedback to them saying, on average, how much, then they have an app, and then can control how many kilometers do you actually run. And when we reach up to 400 kilometers running, you receive a message saying, can you please come to our offices because we believe that your shoes are ready, almost ready to be broken. And before you broke your shoes and you actually get an injury, we are ready to help you change your shoes or fix them. So they were just selling shoes, and then suddenly it's not about selling shoes. It's about saying, my business is not selling shoes. My business is providing services to persons that like to run. So out of the 6, they selected saying, I want to focus on the customers. And the customers will be the one that will change my business. So this is a model. This is 6 variables. You need to pick yours. Okay, you need to build up your model. But building your model, thinking more information. Your society have dramatically changed. Our society. The way that you consume technology today, nothing to do with the way that we consumed 5 years ago. Another new thing, the way that we interact with information, the way that we exponentially fast can look at the chart, can look at this. When I say we, is you in a company, your customers, your partners. Please take this into account when you rethink your model. Another thing is how easy it is right now to, you go on the street, you actually spot an opportunity, you create a company, and you try it out. So this also is something that you need to take into account when you're looking in your business model, saying, I need a partner that would need to do this to make my company work better. Oh, that company does not exist. Do you know what? Someone can create that company in the split of a second, if and when together you build up this business model. Another thing that happened exponentially is the way that we buy. It's impossible to describe. I can give one example. Is like when I pop up on the laptop on the morning to work, I receive one email and the message says, "Early mornings need to get a reward." Here it is from Showroom Privé, is a website that sells things online, just for you, a special discount. So someone knows that I just woke up. Someone knows that I actually just logged in, and someone is trying to take that opportunity. Are you leveraging this to your business? If not, you should. Why? Because the next generation, forget it. They will not buy books from Amazon.com. They will think, I need this book, I'm going to go it online, I'm going to read it really fast, and that's it. Just as an example. Okay? And then they're going to do it on the fast device, not even with a laptop. So is your business ready to be consumed by this generation that is only about touching screens and consuming about it? If not, you need to transform. You need to change digitally your company. Because, let me read it up, digital transformation is the change associated with the application of digital technology to all aspects of human society. Your business is being impacted right now. And it's just a question of time to go then exponentially. So let's go to digital transformation in your business and why you believe that on top of being important, you can take advantage of it, okay? For 3 different reasons. Andy, are you still with me, right? You can still, can you please feedback saying yes, Paul?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. I'm going too fast? I'm worried about time.
Okay.
No?
I think it's okay.
Okay. Good. Excellent. So on the company level, why I believe that we can do this? Why I believe that we are ready? Why I believe that you can take advantage now? For 3 reasons. First one is technology. Second one, technology maturity. Second one is affordable. And third thing is about people. Let's go for the first one. Technology. Right now, everyone has this thing of being hyper connected. Everyone is connected. Everything is connected. My car is connected to the global systems. If something is about to break, I receive a message saying, do you want to contact the dealer? Speed of a click, touch screen. Just as an example, right? You, on your day-to-day basis, you take your phone, you leave home, and then suddenly you receive a message from Maps saying, are you going to the same place that you're doing for the last week? Because you should change your route because you just had an accident there. The hyperconnectivity of people and the intelligence behind the things led to these digital platforms and led to the cloud. Your business needs to be connected there. Okay? And on the other hand, we have the smart, we'll call it world, with the big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. I have here a very quick example. I'm going to play music. I hope that you hear it. And you need to confirm that you're going to hear music.
And Daddy's got a sound so good, like something new. It turns me on. Good day, sunshine in the backseat car. I wish that road could never stop.
So, while the music is fading, could you recognize who did it? It's going to be pretty impossible because no one did it. Do you know what happened? Someone did the test of asking a machine to listen to the Beatles, and someone asked those machines saying, after you listen to all the music of Beatles, can you create your own music? I repeat, a machine that listened to the music of Beatles, and with the artificial intelligence, we asked the machine to create the music.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was like 20 years ago, it would be like something unbearable to listen. And then it's not a good music, but you know what? It was done by a machine. The world is changing. You need to tackle that and take the best out of it for you and to your business. Second thing is affordable and viable. If I would ask you, it's not too much, 6 years ago, to do IoT sensors in every single thing that you put in every single thing that you produce, you would tell me, Paul, you're crazy. It's impossible, super expensive. Let me give one example. Italy. I went and I visited a partner that took me to a customer. Do you know what they have done it? In Italy, they are very famous about the coffee. So they have the coffee machines, and inside the coffee machine, they put the sensor. And inside that sensor, you can actually control remotely how many coffees do you take, and basically the heating of the machine and how it works, so you can prepare for a potential repair or maintenance. On top, you do one thing. You control how many coffees you take. Why? Because the persons that sells the machine, again, the customer, they don't sell the machine. It's like they put the machines on the coffees and the restaurants, and actually they also sell the coffee to them. And the margin is coming from selling the coffee, not for renting the machine. But they are Italians, south of Europe, and they know what sometimes these restaurants do. They take this fancy machine, they put on the restaurant, and they start buying coffee from other vendors that is cheaper. So suddenly the owner of the machine can pick up the phone and call the restaurant and say, you're fooling me. Because you're taking 300 coffees per day, and I have done my maths, and you're only buying me 30. So you're buying 270 coffees from other vendor. If you don't change it, I'm going to pick up my machine. I'm going to give it or lend the machine to the restaurant that will trust in me. Again, their business is produce machines and produce coffee. They had to implement IoT sensor inside the machine because the business needs to be transformed. I'm sorry, I speak too much, Andy, but another example. Brazil, selling beer. Again, coffees and restaurants and bars. One thing that was suddenly disappearing was the barrels of the beer, the big barrels. Why? They had another market. So imagine you produce the beer, you go there and you give the 30 barrels, and they're supposed only to buy the beer and give the empty barrels back to you. So suddenly we were going there, and then the restaurant saying, oh, 5 of them got lost or stolen. Do you know what the beer produced have done it? They put an IoT GPS location in the barrels, and they went to the restaurant and say, if someone steals your barrel, I will let you know that the police will come because it's tagged GPS inside the barrel, so you cannot actually break it. So again, their business was to produce beer. They had to implement IoT sensors because the world was changing and they want to transform their business. The chances are endless. It's up to you. Do you want to take the IoT sensors? Take it, because they actually can increase revenue. Do you want to take the 3D printing capabilities? Do it, because omnichannel is increasing exponentially. Assets and resourcing and controlling the value chain. it's easier to control everything right now. Everything is connected. Are you taking advantage of it? I hope so. Let's go for the next one, people. So people, and how we say that people is the number one asset, is a make it or break it that can help you drive this. As I mentioned to you, they are hyper connected, and every single one of us have a smart device. So on the left side is the people, your end customers. On the right side is the infrastructure, the things that you need to guarantee that is happening. On the left side, omni-channel. If you want to buy anything, all of us thinking that the supplier needs to think about me, my user experience, how I'm going to consume or buy, and they need to be ready. This is their expectation, our expectation. On the right side, yes, your company needs to be that customer-centric. Customer experience needs to be on top of your agenda as a company. Do you control the complete journey? If you do, you are 100% ready for this digital transformation. So digital transformation will come with this velocity, and the velocity of change. Technology changes, forces your business to change, impacts it, and makes you rethink the business models. How do you produce or serve your customers? And this has direct implications in the business processes, on the way that you do things on the day-to-day basis. And heads up, it comes with an opportunity, but also with a risk, and also with a challenge, because this is in constant evolution and change. So let's go. I'm going to try to give you then examples how you can actually take advantage of this digital transformation. First example, again, let me go to Under Armour. They were facing this. They are what we call an analog company. They produce an asset, something physical, right? But they were saying, I want actually to be worried about the digital customer experience. And this is something that is not physical. So a company that produces something is worried about the customer experience. What are the chances? How they can close the gap. So they have done one thing. They actually bought a company and brought this company inside their team. And this company is the one dedicated only for this customer journey digital experience. I'm not asking you to buy companies. I'm asking you is, do you have anyone on your team? Do you have anyone on your company that is digital native? When I say digital native, it is younger than I. I'm 47. This digital native need to be 25, 26, 27. Someone that can look at your business process at your company and say, why you do like this? We don't buy things like it. Do you have it? If you don't, you need to transform your business. You need to bring up to your company this expertise. And why don't you do with Under Armour? Do this effort from going from analog company to digital company. Okay? We also did one thing. We went to IDC and said, this is really cool, IDC, but do me a favor. To the real SMEs, what are the things that worries them? Because Under Armour is not an SME. It's not a small company. So IDC told us this. This is what worries more the small and mid-sized companies. Streamline business processes. The way that they do it, they want to improve it. And yes, they are not open to rethink completely the business model. They are open to actually streamline the business process. Streamline business process, yes, will depend in terms of industry region. And this is the things that worries you. I hope that is matching your needs today. It's about customer retention, improve revenue, improve efficiency and productivity, reduce costs, cash flow. And yes, you're worried about how you are competitive against the other and especially the large competitors. Last but not the least, you want to find a way to retain your staff. Because if they're gone, then you need extra time to train the next one. That's why we're saying that if you are worried about this, take into account what I just mentioned. customer experience, hyperconnectivity, we are living the smart world, and advanced analytics. Let me a little bit now go to examples. Let me see time. I still have 15 minutes. Andy, confirm 15 minutes of your time? Andy and me? Yeah?
Yes.
Still, cool. Excellent. So now I'm going to give you more examples of what I just mentioned, all about of this theory. And I'm going to keep examples and bring up examples of other companies across the world. Let me start by two definitions only. Business model is basically the way that you plan to generate the revenue and make your profit. Overall, the big thing. And yes, it will explain to you this business model to anyone, how actually you're going to serve your customers on the service point of view or produce it overall. And this is business model. Business process is a collection of tasks that you need to change or to execute to deliver that services or produce something, okay? And this is the collection of and the activities. Why I'm giving you these two definitions? Because in the next, in your life, you're always saying, change the business model or change the business process. What I say is, from changing business processes, I'm saying is, from changing small tasks that will improve the business models, why don't you think about, after seeing these examples, of actually change the business model that will have implications in the way that you do things. In our point of view, this is the way that the industry will be impacted by this digital transformation. Yes, less impact in verticals like higher education or chemicals, and exponential impact in verticals in industries like retail or wholesales. But again, I wanted you to be conscious that you need to be one thing. To have this exponential growth, you need to start from the beginning. And the beginning is the wide thing. Every single thing that you have in your company needs to be reliable. You need to trust on the business models that you have today. Only then, if then you can go to the growth and yes, disrupt the market. Let me go a little bit faster because I had here an example for Adidas. We don't have time to play it right now. I want to play this video. I give you a lot of theories. How can you actually translate it into an action? Meaning, as soon as you get out of this call, what should you do? You'll have this complete deck. Go to slide 52 and then revisit this video. Let me play around this video.
An organization's business model can be described with 9 basic building blocks: your customer segments, your value proposition for each segment, the channels to reach customers, customer relationships you establish, the revenue streams you generate, the key resources and key activities you require to create value, the key partners, and the cost structure of the business model. But it's not sufficient to just enumerate the 9 building blocks. What you really want to do is to map them out on a pre-structured canvas. This is what we call the business model canvas, a tool that helps you map, discuss, design, and invent new business models. Let's briefly go through the 9 building blocks, starting with the customer segments. These are all the people or organizations for which you're creating value. This includes simple users and paying customers. For each segment, you have a specific value proposition. These are the bundles of products and services that create value for your customers. The channels describe through which touchpoints you're interacting with customers and delivering value. The customer relationships outline the type of relationship you're establishing with your customers. The revenue streams make clear how and through which pricing mechanisms your business model is capturing value. Then you need to describe the infrastructure to create, deliver, and capture value. The key resources show which assets are indispensable in your business model. The key activities show which things you really need to be able to perform well. The key partners show who can help you leverage your business model, since you won't own all key resources yourself, nor will you perform all key activities. Then once you understand your business model's infrastructure, you'll also have an idea of its cost structure. So with the business model canvas, you can map out your entire business model in one image. This works for startup entrepreneurs just as well as for the most senior executives.
Go back to the drawing board. Take this template. And if you really want to engage exponential growth, put your business here and try to identify the things that you need to change in order to take your company to the next level. Okay? So let me go a little bit faster. I want to go show you the examples of things that at the end will resonate to you. Okay? Let me speed up a little bit here. And I want to go back to the examples. Again, let's think about it. And the 3 examples I'm going to share is examples of real life. The first one started with the prototype. Imagine a company that has the business of doing one thing. They had to do the maintenance of the solar panels that are on top of the buildings. I repeat, solar panels on top of the buildings, they need to do the maintenance. So, and we all know, understand the business is, you have the sun, you have the solar panels, to maximize the number of hours that that solar panels is being heated by the sun, you are doing your business correctly. Okay? So in order to do that, you need to do 2 things. You need to have the maintenance team ready. So if something breaks, they actually go there, fix it immediately to take the best out of the sun. But the thing is, cost structure, it's really expensive to have a maintenance team, engineers, sitting down in your company just waiting for something to break. So what if you connect IoT, you connect the technologies that exist today to your business, and you say, I'm going to dramatically change this. I'm going to put a drone. And the drone is going to do this. I kid you not. Let me show and play the video. You are in SAP Business One system, and the real-time sensor data says, wow, something happened because one of the solar panels suddenly stopped producing what in average they should be producing. Artificial intelligence detected this fault. So what should we do? Assign engineer, expensive one, or send a drone? Let's send a drone. So someone controls the drone. The drone flies in 500 meters. It's going to see which solar panel is broken. Takes a picture, assigns to the engineer, and that's it. Is this rocket science? Yes, it's a little bit. In the sense of, on this video, it was a prototype, but we went live. Because the customer said it, I want this. I want to change my business model. Okay, let's go for the second example. Best-in-class customer experience. So the next slide is actually a picture for me. Okay, I'm sorry. This is me in Madrid. And I was actually walking on the streets of Madrid, and that shop was closed. And I had the idea of buying a guitar. And do you know what? A couple of days later, I went to the partner on Madrid, one of my partners, and say, let's do one thing. Let's together go to this really, really small shop that produces one thing that are unique only for that city. A little bit as you. I'm sure that you have customers that are unique in the Indonesia. And what if we ask them to do one thing? To transform the business models and be ready to sell the guitars, not from 10 to 5, but whenever someone that is walking in Madrid says, I want to buy the guitar. Okay? So the problem of this kind of businesses is really small business, and you cannot go there and say, buy me thousands of euros of software and services and that will make your business rock. Because this is what they do for a living. They produce masterpieces, works of art. pieces of art. So you need to address them in a quick, easy way so you can explain to them the benefits from that, right? And we're saying, what if someone walking on the street sees the guitars and wants to buy it? How difficult it is for you to transform your business model, implement a QR code on the facade of the shop and says, buy me now. Buy me now. Meaning the shop is closed, I'm walking, I saw guitar and have a label, buy me now. I take my mobile phone, I take a picture, and then after that, system connects me with the business one, says if the guitar is available, charge me with my credit card, and then ships the guitar to my country. Is this feasible? Yes, they have done it. So it's all about how you want to transform your business. One last example, and Andy, I promise I'll respect the 45 minutes. And this is my favorite one. Invent new business models and revenue streams. Let's go for one of the most traditional industries that we have, agriculture. Imagine that a farm that rears cows. And imagine that this farm is an SAP Business One customer. And imagine that this farm, on top of rearing cows, they invent a new business model that is a software that is ready to rear cows in a more efficient way. Now you really think that I lost it. Software to rear cows? How can we do it? Let's see a video. So imagine this. You are actually live. You can see here, for the ones that are our customers, you recognize the screen. It's a Business One screen. And then, yes, the cows are entering from left to right. And as soon as they enter, one person is here behind the laptop. Another person is ready to put the IoT device. It's animal friendly, IoT device in each one of the rears on the cows. And here goes the cow, and you're going to see another line item of Business One being active. So they are tracking the geolocation of the cow. And with this, they also can control the temperature to see if the cow it's okay or it's has a fever, right? So why are they doing it? Because on this process of reinventing the business model, on the next step, and yes, I'm sorry, this one we need to see it until the end. On the next step, when they are feeding the cow, the truck stops a little bit more because system is blinking red and saying, this cow is hungrier than the previous one. Can you please give her a little bit more food? I kid you not. They rear cows using Business One connected with a unique software developed by them. Do you know what happened? This customer, instead of rearing cows, they also sell this IoT special infrastructure to other farms that they don't have it. Reinvent business models and revenue streams. They win more money with selling software on top of rearing cows. So you need to do one thing as a owner of your own company. Sometimes it's what is buying searching for. Sometimes is what the seller wants to sell. We want to sell an empty beach. Do you know what? These guys don't want an empty beach. They want actually a surfing beach. And the good news is we are here together with our partners to help you. You have what it takes. You have the infrastructure. The next step is up to you. You need to tell us what you want to do with the infrastructure. What do you want to do in your company? Don't get stuck here. Don't get stuck saying it's impossible, my business is different, I cannot innovate. We all can change. It's up to you to identify where do you want to take your business to be digital ready, digital transform, and take this opportunity of exponential growth. Okay? And this is what we say, find the impact zone. Find your wave. What are the things that you want to be different? What are the things that you want to be unique? Okay? And closing, digital transformation is not a journey. It's a journey, not a destiny. Don't expect that you make it and it's done. No, it's a never-ending story. Next one, you have it all. as I mentioned, you have the maturity of the technology and you have the customer needs. The next step is, it's up to you. If you want to close the gap between being an analog company but worried about the digital. And I really believe that we are the best fitted because we are not the biggest, but we are the most agile to react. And I close with the same message that I started saying, but we cannot have an explosion growth if you're not ready for this digital transformation. Andy, I'm done. 45 minutes on the spot, on the dot. Okay.
Fantastic, Paulo. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your both on theory sides, concepts, and also a practical idea. I believe we all learn a lot from you. Are you gonna stay with us, Paulo, until the end?
Yep. I will stay here till the end.
Okay. Because we'll put the Q&A at the end of the session after Pak Yongki. Yeah.
Okay. Very well.
We can continue. Okay. Let me share a little bit before Pak Yongki share a couple of slides. I want to share exactly like was Paulo mentioned. Jadi teman-teman, ini apa yang kami lakukan. So actually we are, you all knows we are a consulting company. Our revenue is coming from basically services. But 10 years ago we tried to understand where is this IT gonna change in the next 10 years. Then the last 5 years we decided we go to this mobile apps. Originally is to help micro business, mom and pop store, which our POS now, they can download it for free. But now it becomes our new revenue of stream. Actually, now we are selling products as software as a service. Now has been downloaded 400,000 worldwide in more than 100 countries. Actually, the application itself. Maybe the reason that we share this for with all you, our customers. Actually, we really have to look at our business really, and maybe like Paulo said, maybe you are not totally 100% shift. Maybe you just refine your business process, or just like us, we are totally actually shifting. Not really shifting because we are a majority is still on the service, but we are having a SaaS product which is very cheap. We are selling very cheap.
Do you currently manage multiple stores and still record your daily sales and stock transaction manually? Every day, store need to send all manual document to head office company. This usually take 1 to 3 days delay. You cannot have right information on time as when you need it. How much sales per store? How many stock do I have? By store and all store? How much profit do I have? POS Pro is perfectly designed and developed retail solutions for your stores. Monitor inventory, sales profit real time. Support recipe for your food counters. Reduce your material when sales happens. Manage your store operation. Real time, anytime, and anywhere. IRE POS Pro support multiple store consolidation. All transaction data consolidate real time. Increase control by assigning user difference authorization type. Manage your store operation real time, anytime, anywhere. All transaction data consolidate real time online to head office or company. If there is no internet connection, transactions are captured temporarily online and synchronized automatically when internet connection becomes available. Hence, no business disruption.
Now you can save your time, money, and effort. Analyze store operation using iReap dashboard and reports. Real time, anytime, anywhere.
Oke, nah jadi ini salah satu produk yang kami kembangkan dan saat ini we start having a SAP Business One customer also integrating to this SaaS application. It's a very cheap. It's $50 USD per year per store basically. So this is software as a service that one of our product actually. Nah, teman-teman, for what actually we developed that for small business, which is the one that in the middle, according to the government, ini 783.000 ya, represent 1.2% from the total company in Indonesia. And the free version, we have the free version, which is aimed to help the micro business, which is the numbers is 63 millions, according to the government agency. So it's like 98%. So the one that we give it for free, which is what we call the light version, is for mom and pop store, which become our CSR to help Indonesian micro business grow. That we hope they instead of just opening one store, they are there to open the next store, 2-3 stores, so they can grow and also provide jobs here, basically. So this is the aim. This is one of the testimony, just for our users, the very small one, the micro.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya Yusuf Jalal. Toko saya ini berdiri mulai bulan Mei, 6 Mei tepatnya, tahun 2008. Sekarang kira-kira sudah 11 tahun. iReap sudah masuk ke toko Villa 5 ini kira-kira kurang lebih 1 bulanan lah. Kira-kira 1 bulan. Dan saya merasa sebagai pemilik merasa sangat terbantu dengan adanya sistem iReap ini. Kenapa? Karena dengan adanya iReap kita jadi tahu stok ya, kita jadi tahu berapa keuntungan kita, margin kita, omset kita 1 hari berapa, 1 bulan berapa, 1 minggu berapa, dan adalah menambah percaya diri dari pihak toko sendiri, dari saya sendiri percaya diri. Kenapa? Karena yang selama ini kita pakai bon manual dan seterusnya, dan pengiriman dan seterusnya itu pakai bon manual, sekarang tercetak dengan rapi, jelas, harga semuanya clear. Bahkan saya dapat masukan dari pelanggan ya, dengan pakai sistem seperti ini, itu mereka bilang, wah lebih asik nih, karena yang jaga kan kebetulan ganti-ganti nih, jadi nggak bisa main-main harga dan seterusnya. Jadi harga adalah paten. Selain itu kita juga bisa kontrol dari master data untuk stok itu kan ada harga beli dan harga jual. Sehingga dari sana kita tahu apakah harga yang kita berikan ke konsumen itu terlalu mahal atau terlalu murah. Kalau terlalu mahal kan kita nggak bisa bersaing dengan yang lain. Kalau terlalu murah pun kita juga jadi rugi. Nah, sehingga kita benar-benar dibantu mengenai kontrol ya, kontrol baik stok, harga dan lain-lain. Terima kasih. Sementara itu aja dulu. Mungkin kedepannya mudah-mudahan ada inovasi-inovasi baru dari iReap sehingga kita juga merasa terbantu. Sukses untuk iReap, sukses juga untuk Villa 5. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Untuk video-video selanjutnya teman-teman bisa mampir ke channel kita. Nah, ini beberapa yang karena kami membantu we help micro and small business, then we have the opportunity with some association to meet with the president and vice president. advise them how to help the micro and small business. That's all from me. Then let me introduce Pak Yongki. I guess from teman-teman retail, we don't need to introduce Pak Yongki. Pak Yongki sent me 8 pages. So actually, if I read the introduction, then I think you all left already. So Pak Yongki basically 27 tahun. And menurut Pak Yongki, warung Mom and Pop Store, the Mom and Pop Store that just now we saw, actually in Indonesia we have like 3.5 million. So it's very big numbers. I think I'll just skip the introduction because Pak Yongki speak itself. Pak Yongki, please, the stage is yours.
Ya, oke. Selamat siang teman-teman semua. Makasih dari STEM, SAP juga. Jadi ini udah keberapa kali diundang. Jadi kita bersyukur ada.
Nggak bosan.
Hah?
Semoga nggak bosan ya.
Oh belum, cuma udah udah berasa mau pingsan kalau udah kebanyakan Zoom juga di sini. Sehari 4 kali. So ya bersyukurlah ada STEM di sini yang membantu retail Indonesia ya untuk bisa bertransformasi digital. Jadi solusinya sangat praktikal banget gitu loh. Jadi buat saya STEM ini yang salah satu paling reliable lah ya, proven banget di retail di sana gitu loh. Oke, saya share screen dulu ya. Oke, saya memang sengaja ditempatkan oleh Andi yang paling belakang nih, karena kita akan makan waktu 4 jam. Jadi siap-siap, ini jam berapa nih? Jam setengah 4 sampai jam 8 nanti ya. So judulnya adalah bagaimana how we can grow ya very fast di 2021. Apakah memang ada peluang ke sana untuk grow fast di 2021 di sana? Oke, jadi saya cerita dulu mengenai apa yang terjadi ya. Anda nggak usah terlalu gusar dengan banyak sekali informasi yang saya rasa salah ya mengenai disruption dan macam-macam di era pandemi bisa akselerasi, itu nggak ada buat saya. So intinya semuanya organik. Persoalannya adalah nggak ada duitnya nih soalnya gitu loh. Jadi semua juga organik, nggak bisa buru-buru di sini gitu loh. Oke? Bentar. Nah, beberapa hal yang saya mau bahas. Pertama adalah ya ini dekade sebenarnya kita belajar bagaimana bisa punya hope. Kita hidup harus fokus, dan disiplin di sini ya. Ini dekade 2020 itu. Kedua adalah nanti saya bahas sedikit mengenai global ekonomi sebentar, apa yang terjadi nanti kira-kira tahun depan juga gimana. Lantas masuk ke Indonesia ekonomi, lantas yaitu mengenai consumer ya. Ada yang bilang new normal, next normal, buat saya nggak ada, titik, udah. Adanya adalah normal consumer, jadi balik lagi ke normal, nggak ada new normal ya, oke. So terakhir adalah new economy. Nah, kalau new economy ada di sini ya. New economy adalah digital ke depan. Nah, kita akan adventure di sana. So sengaja saya pakai topik tadi Control Alt Delete. So intinya ini semua kita punya kehidupan, punya PC semua udah banyak virusnya ya. So mudah-mudahan virusnya bisa jalan, antivirusnya jalan, dimatiin semua di sini, dan kita Control Alt Delete, kita riset yang baru di sini buat ke depan. Nah, tetapi harus ada yang baru ke depan. Jadi jangan waste krisisnya kemarin di sana. So saya mulai pertama ya dari chart saya sini, suatu berita di sini ya. Ini adalah dekade dari harapan, fokus sama disiplin di sini. Oke, jadi jangan pernah meng-underestimate krisis ya. Di awal-awal kita nggak tahu nih krisis kayak apa. Berarti banyak yang underestimate. Oh, nggak apa-apa lah. Kayak USA, Anda lihat sendiri underestimate. Akhirnya gimana tuh ya, berantakan. Tapi juga kalau udah masuk krisisnya jangan terlalu overestimate gitu loh. Semua serba ketakutan, jadi kalah, jadi nggak bisa berpikir bersih dan maju di sana ya. Banyak dikasih PDF file ya, ataupun YouTube yang mengerikan, yang perubahan-perubahan drastis ya, buat kita tidak ada di lapangan, nggak kelihatan, nggak ada, dan tidak akan ada juga misalnya seperti itu. Anda lihat di sini contoh yang paling model yang saya ambil di sini adalah dari Cina sendiri, tempat si corona ini lahir di sini ya. So ketika lockdown diangkat, di lifting di sana, jadi di April, dia kena tuh Desember akhir, April diangkat di sana. Jadi kehidupan mulai kembali ke arah normal. Anda baca di sini, ke arah normal. Ya, jadi nggak ada new normal atau next normal di sini. Jadi balik ke normal di sana. Nah, Anda lihat di sini ekonomi Cina quarter 1 itu minus 6%. Kita kan cuma minus 5%, ini minus 6%. Tetapi bukan di situ poinnya, itu quarter 2 itu sudah plus 3%. Gitu loh. Kita masih minus 3,5% di sini. Ya, quarter 3 nih, saya yakin masih minus di sini karena masih lambat banget. Sedangkan Cina naik lagi di atas 5% kalau nggak salah nanti. Gitu loh. Oke. So soal ini saya pakai ya, ini adalah model yang paling canggih, yang paling kita harus ikutin sebenarnya. Harus fokus, ya, harus disiplin. Nah, ini nggak ada Indonesia disiplin, ya, nggak pakai masker, semua di mana nggak pakai masker gitu loh. Gimana mau ekonomi recover di sana? Ya, ada lagi yang ngumpulnya puluhan ribu lagi di jalanan semua seperti mana bisa. Oke, so sebagai pembukaan itu ya, sebagai perkenalan ya, intinya saya adalah Chief dari Kadin International Trading House yang saya lagi set up ya untuk perdagangan ekspor buat orang-orang Indonesia di sini, semua siapa saja. Saya former Executive Director di Nielsen, 27 tahun di sana, tadi sudah disebutkan Pak Andi. Saya juga nanti ada di beberapa company ya, startup dan juga yang mungkin sudah go public juga di sana gitu loh. Oke. Jadi saya bahas dulu mengenai global ekonomi, kira-kira ini kemana Pak arahnya, mengakhiri 2020 di sini. Oke. Kalau Anda lihat di sini, semuanya terkendala ya, turun gara-gara corona di sini. Nah, ini corona kapan habis? Itu pertanyaan yang besar di mana-mana kan. Kapan selesai? Ya, ini kelihatannya nggak kelar-kelar. Di Amerika malah booming, di Eropa lagi second wave di sana. Tetapi ada yang beda di sini, yaitu apa? Kesembuhan. Kesembuhannya sudah sangat tinggi. Jadi udah tahu cara ngobatin, menyembuhkan udah ada di sini, gitu loh. Oke. So intinya kalau Anda lihat di sini kesembuhan hampir 80%. Indonesia sendiri di atas 80% angkanya kalau ada hitung-hitung di sana gitu loh ya. Jadi dari 10 orang kena, 8 recover ya, 89 recover lah seperti itu. Hanya 1 meninggal di sana gitu loh. Ya, so jadi jauh lebih encouraging lah gitu loh. Oke, nggak perlu takut, tapi ya usia tua hati-hati gitu loh, gampang kalau udah punya penyakit di sana. Nah, kalau Anda lihat di sini unemployment, karena ekonomi turun yang terjadi apa? Unemployment naik gitu loh. Indonesia juga sama, di luar negeri juga ada sama seperti itu. Jadi ini parah gitu loh ya. WHO mengatakan, oke, udah belajar nih ya kan, jangan main lockdown doang itu bukan kunci di sini. Jadi lockdown tuh harus dikombinasikan, nggak bisa main lockdown saja ya. Jadi hati-hati. Makanya untung kita Indonesia juga nggak ngikutin lockdown, main asal lockdown seperti itu. Jadi pelan-pelan seperti itu gitu loh ya. Sekarang namanya micro lockdown ya, whatever the name, tapi itu intinya di sini ya. Nah, IMF mengatakan 2021 ke depan kebanyakan karena tahun ini adalah minus, tahun depannya harus plus dong, nggak mungkin nggak di sana. So intinya dunia diperkirakan plus 5,4%. Siapa yang narik ke atas? Bapak Ibu Anda lihat di sana, Cina 8,2%. Luar biasa, amazing di sana, yang paling recover duluan dan tinggi di sana. ASEAN 5, termasuk Indonesia di dalamnya ASEAN 5 itu berapa? 6,2%. Siapa yang naik ya? Indonesia salah satunya. Diprediksi sekitar 5%-an gitu istilahnya tahun depan. Ya, 5% sebenarnya tahun-tahun normal aja kita 5%. Nah, tahun ini jeblok, masa tahun depan 5%. Sebenarnya kita nggak puas kalau ditaruh 5%. Gitu loh, harus lebih tinggi ya secara ekonomi di sini. So, Anda lihat di sini OECD outlook-nya adalah dunianya 5%, Cinanya 8%, hampir sama ya, Indonesia 5,3%. Oke, seperti itu. Jadi Indonesia sendiri harusnya lebih tinggi dari 5,3, jangan 5,3. Nah, Anda lihat di sini, kurvanya di sini ya. Intinya turun, ada pembukaan, lockdown, naik lagi di sana. Nah, kapan ini berakhir? Ya, di dunia ya diprediksi kira-kira Q3 tahun depan. Dunia loh ya. Nah, karena ini kan ada second wave dan macam-macam, jadi tertunda oleh negara yang memang reboundnya telat gitu ya dalam hal penyembuhan dan menghandle si corona di sini, karena mereka terlalu underestimate ya, nggak pakai masker dan macam-macam. Tapi ada satu solusi lagi nanti adalah namanya vaksin di sini. Oke. Bapak Ibu Anda lihat di sini grafik dari beberapa sektor industri. So istilahnya retail dan rekreasi itu sudah mulai kembali ya ke arah normal, nol dulu nih, belum growth positif di sana, tapi Anda lihat kurvanya ke arah atas di sana. Jadi ini encouraging. Kalau dunia seperti ini, Indonesia gimana? Sama lah Bapak Ibu gitu loh. Oke. Jadi jangan percayalah misalnya rekreasi travel itu bubar ya, nggak akan recover lagi ke depan, masa depan nggak ada, bohong. Oke, so intinya adalah tetap manusia makin punya duit maunya rekreasi Bapak Ibu, seperti itu. Ya, maunya lebih jauh lagi. Ya, lebih jauh, lebih dalam, lebih tinggi langitnya seperti itu. Intinya Anda lihat di sini, ya financial market itu yang masih problem. ya. Market keuangan di dunia ini masih problem, ya. Masalah soal investasi dan macam-macam karena orang takut. Oke, jangankan luar negeri, Indonesia sendiri teman-teman di asosiasi mau buka toko nggak nih, ya kan? Ntar di lockdown lagi, second lockdown, third down, ya, fourth down lagi, tutup buka tutup, udah hire orang semacam-macam, akhirnya rugi semua. Nah ini sama, jadi investasi macet, mau pastikan dulu, kira-kira nanti di lockdown lagi nggak gitu istilahnya, ya. Nah ini dia, jadi perlu confidence. Nah di Cina sendiri, ya ini data dari Cina, transaction recovery. Ini ada Moon Festival, ada Global Recovery-nya, itu udah balik ke arah 70-80%. Ya, jadi sudah hampir balik. Anda lihat nih, ini size-nya Cina gede banget. Sudah hampir kembali 80%. Indonesia juga hampir nih, ada beberapa sektor di sini, nanti saya kasih lihat datanya. So intinya adalah hampir balik Bapak Ibu, gitu loh, ke arah normal. Ya, mudah-mudahan tahun depan udah ke arah 100%. Gitu loh. Oke. Nah, itu adalah ekonomi, ya, ekonomi global seperti itu, ya, kelihatannya lebih dinamis lah daripada kemarin perang Twitter mulu gitu istilahnya, isinya Twitter terus gitu. So Indonesia ekonomi bagaimana kira-kira? Nah ini saya samakan lagi tadi masalah soal yaitu Indonesia GDP growth diprediksi tahun ini kira-kira 0,5 tadinya, tetapi dikoreksi menjadi minus 0,3%. Ya, feeling saya sih minus di atas minus 1%, maksudnya 1% lebih gitu ya minusnya. Ya, menurut saya gitu loh, nggak mungkin 0, sekian gitu loh. Ini masih dalam ini gitu loh, masih susah. Oke. Nah, di mana salahnya gitu ya? Apa yang membuat minus? Ya, very simple. Karena kontribusi konsumsi itu hampir 59% sekarang. Ya, karena ekspor semua turun. Jadi 59%. Jadi kalau orang nggak konsumsi, ekonomi jelek gitu istilahnya. Oke? Dan kita lihat diri kita sendiri dan teman-teman di lapangan, asosiasi semua di sana. Konsumsi nggak? Enggak gitu loh. So intinya sangat berhati-hati pakai duitnya di sini. Jadi fokus saja pada yang penting-penting saja, yang core saja. Ya mungkin ada sekali-sekali ke sana ke sini gitu ya. Cuma nggak kayak sebelumnya yang mana bablas gitu kalau spending di sana. Ya, so intinya adalah Anda lihat di sini ya, teman-teman kita di F&B itu kontribusinya sudah 32%. Ya namanya makan, restoran, 32%. Nah, lancar nggak makan restoran? Oh, saya kalau ke mall, liatin, ini sekarang mendingan. Kemarin lagi di lockdown, habis. Tapi apakah sekarang ini masih problem? Oh, problem. Teman-teman di Hipindo semua, F&B masih problem. Gitu ya, restoran masih sepi, semua seperti itu gitu loh. Ya. Di luaran seperti itu, nggak seperti yang sebelumnya lah. Ya. Nah, Anda lihat di sini, ya sumber masalah ada di mana? Di Jawa, Nusra. Ya, karena Jawa Nusra populasi terbesar. Ketika itu ada shrinking, ada penurunan di Jawa, pasti satu Indonesia kena di sana karena kontribusi gede banget 65-70% gitu istilahnya. Nah kalau di Sumatera, Kalimantan itu masih oke saja di sana. Tapi Jawa nih yang paling kena di sini. Oke. Kategori apa yang paling kena? Yaitu yang nggak pokok. Ya, yang pokok masih mending lah, orang masih beli makanan macam-macam itu. Tapi yang namanya lifestyle, baju, sepatu, semua itu yang paling kena. Anda lihat paling dalam di sana. Balik nggak? Pelan-pelan balik di sini. Oke, jadi pelan-pelan balik di sini. Selama toko bisa dibuka, nanti orang akan belanja pelan-pelan di sini. Confidence akan naik. Oh, berarti kemakan Pak sama online, perubahan online. Enggak, jangan percaya sama itu. Oke, ini data dari Bank Indonesia, semua turun di sini. Alasannya apa? Karena di lifestyle, di online itu orang-orang tuh belanjanya lifestyle. Nggak ada di online belanjanya beras, begitu sedikit banget kecil. FMCG itu kontribusi cuma 1%. Nggak bisa digede-gedein gitu loh ya. Tetap di sana. Dan ini juga kebanyakan import. Oke, nanti 92% barang yang terjual di e-commerce itu adalah import dari Cina. Anda bayangkan, jadi menguntungkan pihak Cina, bukan menguntungkan Indonesia di sini gitu loh. Ya, jadi ketika kemarin Cina nggak bisa ekspor barang, kita kena nggak ada barang. Jadi para online itu nggak ada barang kecuali yang udah masuk ke gudang mereka di sana, nggak bisa jualan. Kedua adalah demand-nya nggak ada. Orang Indonesia sendiri fokus pada bapok ya, bahan pokok di sini, nggak ada yang belanja yang nggak waktu itu gitu loh. Makanya jatuh. Anda lihatin di bulan Mei itu minus malah ya. Untuk online di sini gitu loh. Sama semuanya. Jadi saya juga bingung tuh orang pada ngomong online dulu gitu loh. Duitnya nggak ada, mau online mau offline tuh nggak ada persoalan. Online tuh kontribusi hanya 3%. Di masa pandemi mungkin naik jadi 5% gitu loh. But nanti setelah pulih gimana? Turun lagi, balik lagi ke offline gitu istilahnya ya. Nah, yang mengencouraging adalah survei ya, beberapa survei mengatakan manufacturing udah mulai jalan lagi ya, bikin produk dan macam-macam. Mudah-mudahan hiring usaha juga mulai jalan pelan-pelan. Oke. Oke, omnibus terutama di sini gitu loh. Begitu omnibus tanda tangan itu udah positif. Cuma ini harus translate ke action di sini. Makanya kita lagi formulasikan PP-nya di sini. Oke, satu hal. Jadi gini, beberapa parameter ekonomi itu kita oke lah. Kita nggak ini bukan krisis dalam tahun 98, beda. Parameter kita oke di sini gitu loh. Anda lihat di sini namanya surplus. Ini udah 3 quarter surplus terus kita gitu loh. Karena turun semua, ekspor turun, impor juga turun. Cuma impornya turunnya lebih kencang, makanya surplus di sini gitu loh. Ya, apakah bagus? Nggak bagus. Bagusnya tuh importnya sedang naik juga, ekspornya lebih naik lagi kencang, itu paling bagus sebenarnya. Karena kita untuk produksi barang itu masih import beberapa raw materials di sana ya. Nah, Anda lihat di sini Federal Reserve cadangan devisa naik ya, tertinggi sepanjang masa Indonesia di sini. Sekarang ada 135 billion gitu loh. Inflasi, Anda tahu inflasi kecil buat saya nggak bagus karena udah ketahuan bahwa demand-nya nggak ada kalau inflasi kayak begini gitu istilahnya ya. Jadi masih lemas di sini. Mudah-mudahan pelan-pelan menuju 2020 ya. Nah, ini mohon makanya orang-orang belanja dong gitu loh ya. Duitnya disimpan terus soalnya nih di bank. Harus belanja gitu, jangan disimpan terus. Nah, Anda lihat di sini. Nah, Anda lihat namanya dana pihak ketiga. Ini dia nih simpenannya nih. Ya, banyak banget di sini. So intinya naik duit simpanan 11%, sedangkan kredit itu dia pinjem buat usaha itu cuma naik 1%. Jadi nggak ada yang usaha. Cuma nyimpen duit saja gitu loh, mengandalkan deposito di sini. Anda lihat di sini di bulan Agustus ini mengejutkan ya, ada dana ya, orang-orang yang punya duit di atas 5 miliar. Itu Toto ada tabungan masuk sekitar 148 triliun ya, bukan M tuh, triliun. Oke, nongkrong di tabungan di sana, nggak dipakai di sana gitu loh. Jadi ini beda masalah kalau kelas menengah bawah nggak punya duit untuk beli, tapi menengah ke atas duitnya kebanyakan nggak mau diusahakan gitu loh. Jadi disimpan di deposito di sana gitu loh. Oke. Transaksi non tunai. Nah ini sekali lagi nih yang namanya e-money. Banyak yang bilang bahwa ini pandemi ini mengakselerasi apa tuh elektronik atau digital ya. Datanya bicaranya lain gitu loh ya. Kok message-nya begitu? Semuanya turun ya. Anda lihat di sini kartu kredit turun, transaksi ATM turun, oke, apalagi transaksi uang elektronik turun anjlok seperti itu. Jadi nggak ada siapa yang bilang sih gitu loh ya akselerasi. Semuanya anjlok karena orang nggak transaksi titik seperti itu gitu loh ya. Tapi bersabar nanti bentar lagi naik lagi. Jadi data ini penting Bapak Ibu ya. Kalau nggak punya data, actionnya salah. Ini banyak orang yang komen seperti itu, actionnya salah. Makanya pemerintah jadi salah terus karena banyak komen-komen yang salah semua. Nggak pakai data ngomongnya seperti itu. So intinya kalau mau jump start ekonomi, pertama adalah ya ini dia kelas menengah bawah tuh nggak punya uang, tolong dibantu. Nah makanya diturunkan bantuan di sana. Oke, jangan bansos lah, jangan barang, harus kasih cash di sana supaya dia bisa belanja, ya kan? Nah. Cari database orang-orang ini nih susah gitu misalnya ya kan, ini yang kendala dari pemerintah seperti itu. Tapi kalau cash disbursement itu kan cuma sementara, nggak bisa kasih cash terus. Jadi yang paling bagus adalah job creation, harus dikasih kerjaan. Nah sekarang pandemi kemarin malah lepas kerjaan gitu kan. Mudah-mudahan nanti pelan-pelan, makanya kalau lockdown dibuka itu adalah mulai hiring di sana. Kayak restoran kan udah mulai jalan nih, mulai hiring juga. Kalau middle upper class tadi itu saya bilang duitnya banyak banget, yang perlu adalah confidence di sana. Ya, tolong dipantau, dibaguskan masalah COVID. Kalau COVID-nya masih ada ya takut berusaha, nanti buka tutup gitu loh. Yang mall kelas atas aja juga sepi sekarang, orang nggak berani turun, orang-orang kaya ke sana takut kena. Oke, jadi enforcement untuk menghandle COVID-19 itu sangat penting. Nah, next adalah vaksin yang kita tunggu di sini ya, untuk bisa eradicate ini penularan lewat vaksin. Makanya kita sangat tunggu. Tadinya November ditunda jadi Desember. Tadi ada BPOM berita tunda lagi di sana. Cuma harusnya sih jangan ya. Mudah-mudahan akhir Desember udah ada vaksin mulai pelan-pelan. Oke. Nah, tetapi masih tetap ada satu problem. Kita semua pengusaha tahu di sini ya, masalah utama apa? Yaitu apa? Ease of doing business, kemudahan berusaha di sana. Nah ini obatnya adalah omnibus law ya. Tolong yang belum baca, tolong baca dulu baru komentar gitu misalnya ya. Karena banyak yang komentar tanpa baca gitu misalnya, sampai demo-demo padahal nggak tahu isinya apa. Jadi baca dulu yang benar, baru komentar di sana. So intinya omnibus law ini dibuat dari udah lama sebenarnya ya, untuk bisa membuat kita berusaha gampang sekali, ya, mudah banget di Indonesia di sini. Ya berarti kan positif dong. ya, semua investasi kalah dengan Vietnam, dengan Laos seperti itu gara-gara ini. Kemudahan usaha kita tuh parah banget gitu istilahnya, ya kan? Terutama di level Pemda. Makanya Omnibus Law ini dilawan oleh Pemda karena Pemda itu salah satu kendala sebenarnya di sana, gitu istilahnya. Oke, jadi akan di skip oleh pemerintah pusat, jadi dimudahkan. Oke, nah itu mengenai ekonomi di sana. Jadi mudah-mudahan Anda mendapat picture, mendapat bayangan, bahwa ke depan itu semakin mudah, ada vaksin, bisnis oke, ya tinggal kita momentumnya seperti apa gitu loh. Oke. Nah, ini yang penting nih sekarang saya mau bahas soal Pak, consumer gimana Pak? Berubah nggak Pak? Saya ada punya uang atau nggak punya uang, mesti gimana ke depan? Ya, transformasinya gitu loh. Orang-orang bilang, ada yang bilang digital lah, ada yang bilang macam-macam. Saya jelaskan di sini, oke? Gitu loh. Dan ada yang bilang lagi, oh internet booming. Siapa yang bilang sih Pak? Lihat data di sini dong gitu loh ya. Kebesaran itu suaranya yang namanya internet booming. Lantas Netflix ya, ke depan Netflix luar biasa. Ntar Anda lihatin Netflix pelan-pelan juga mulai turun pelan-pelan. Online shopping ya is the future. Work from home, study from home ya kan. Itu terlalu loud kalau saya bilang. Anda lihat nih datanya APJI, Asosiasi Pengelola Jasa Internet. Oke. Dengerin dia punya data di sini. Penetrasi internet justru tidak terlalu signifikan di masa pandemi di sini, gitu loh. Ini orang pindah doang main internet, tadinya di kantor jadi gratis gitu kan. Jadi sekarang di rumah mesti bayar. Nah, mesti hati-hati makanya kalau di rumah. Kecuali yang mungkin udah langganan per bulan di sana, gitu istilahnya. Dari Menteri Kominfo sini juga mengatakan pengguna internet hanya naik 5-10%. Jadi 5-10% itu normal gitu loh. Apa yang boom gitu istilahnya, ya. Next. Nah, pemirsa TV, oke? Karena di lockdown, mesti di rumah, nggak tahu mesti ngapain, pasti nonton TV. Pemirsa TV naik di sana, Netflix naik di sana, gitu istilahnya kan? Wow, iklan semua naik seperti itu gitu loh ya. Tapi begitu lockdown dibuka pelan-pelan, bosen Bapak Ibu nonton TV, jadi mendingan cari duit ke luar rumah di sana, dia tinggalin TV di sana. Jadi TV sekarang turun pemirsanya seperti itu gitu loh, normal lagi. Jadi Netflix sudah pasti ditinggalin gitu, mendingan cari uang daripada nonton Netflix terus seperti itu. Oke. Nah, ini ada chart di sini. Ya, makanya kalau setiap chart tolong hanya baca yang ada angkanya. Kalau nggak ada angkanya gambar doang, jangan percaya. Oke, ini di kanan nih ada gambarnya di sini. Orang pindah katanya, ada losers, dunia tambang, dunia apalagi itu pada lose katanya. Yang winners adalah makanan katanya. Waduh, kalau Anda ngikutin udah kejeblos lagi 2 kali di sini, ya kan? Karena semuanya losers Bapak Ibu, di masa pandemi itu semua losers minus. Yang benar yang kiri ada angkanya di sini, Boston Consulting di sini. Semuanya oranye merah semua di sana. Yang ada adalah healthier. Nah, lebih mending lah, minusnya kecil. Tapi nggak ada yang plus di sini gitu. Semua minus. Teman-teman kita mau yang namanya minimarket, supermarket, apalagi hypermarket. Waduh, parah Bapak Ibu gitu loh. Ya itu yang boleh buka, yang nggak boleh buka di mall lebih parah lagi gitu. So, intinya saya mau jelaskan kepada Anda bahwa after COVID-19 ini, jika nanti selesai dengan vaksin dan macam-macam, consumer behavior gimana Pak? Sama nggak dengan masa COVID? Tidak. Ya. Jadi prinsipnya adalah no change. Sebelum COVID dengan sesudah nanti vaksin akan sama. Ya, saya garanti di sini. Karena kita udah ngelihat beberapa kali krisis di Indonesia tuh udah kita ngelihat. Indonesia tuh sementara, nggak ada yang nggak bisa permanen di sini gitu. Oke, ada yang bilang di sini ya, infodemic nih ya, parah nih hoaxnya. Indonesia akan go digital all the way. Salah buat saya. Kedua, work from home is the future. Aduh, minta ampun. Stay at home, be social. Mana bisa itu stay at home, be social. Keempat adalah online shopping is the new behavior. Enggak, saya bilang gitu loh. Oke, masih kecil sekali. Everything else is new normal, next normal. Aduh, apalagi ya. So intinya adalah tetap normal arahnya ke sana, oke? Bahkan pemerintah sendiri sudah tidak mau pakai lagi namanya new normal, itu salah, oke? Bikin orang bingung di sana. Nah, kata yang baru dipakai ya adalah adaptasi kebiasaan baru. Udah nggak ada new normal di sana. Di Melbourne yang kena lagi kemarin, gitu kan? Melbourne, apa tuh judulnya sana? Normal life, oke? World Economic Forum sama, balik ke normal. Semuanya mau balik ke normal, nggak ada new normal, next normal. Udah titik seperti jangan kita pakai lagi, oke? Nah, yang saya perhatikan adalah behavior yang nggak berubah, ya, sama. Ketika pandemik Anda lihat, dan ini saya bikin di bulan April ya, ada tanggalnya di sana tuh, ya. Nomor 1 Indonesia ketika krisis apa? Saving. Bener kan? Savingnya sampai triliunan kan tadi kan? Taruh duit gitu, karena dia takut nggak bisa apa-apa. Kedua, pada ribut Waduh, jangan bisnis travel, ke depan nggak ada travel, ini virus luar biasa, masih 3 tahun lagi, 4 tahun lagi, nggak tahu gimana. Kalau udah ada modelnya Cina, kenapa nggak dilihat di sana gitu istilahnya, ya? Travel Anda lihat di sana, ini akan increase lagi di sana. Ini adalah occupancy rates, oke? Di Jabar sama di Jakarta udah 40%. Ini sebelum liburan nih. Oke, ketika liburan kemarin, waduh, saya yakin udah 80-100% tuh hotel-hotel di Bandung, Jakarta dan macam-macam seperti itu gitu loh. Ya, nanti ini Desember Anda liatin di sini ya, namanya Bali ya, tempat-tempat wisata Anda liatin di sana ya. Occupancy rate-nya berapa? Tanya teman-teman yang punya hotel sana. Akan lumayan tinggi di sana. Apalagi tahun depan setelah vaksin di sana. Semua akan terbang pengen vacation. Udah bener-bener bosen banget ya, nggak jalan-jalan gitu istilahnya. Shopping juga sama seperti itu, oke, nggak bisa ya. So intinya semua orang Indonesia tuh masih shopping, frekuensi belanja tuh ke toko di sana. Kalau nggak ke toko nggak shopping itu, ya itu cuma. Makanya saya nggak pernah pakai namanya online shopping, tuh nggak pernah. Online buying, karena online tuh hanya buying, nggak bisa shopping. Oke, shopping tuh ada experience, ya ada pengalaman, ada experience di sana. Ke toko, ke mall semua itu ada experience. Di e-commerce nggak ada Bapak Ibu, mana ada experience, cuma buy doang, lihat gambar, lihat harga, buy, udah selesai, tungguin seperti itu. Jadi apa yang bisa dijual pada e-commerce ya tetap yaitu yang namanya lifestyle, bukan kebutuhan sehari-hari, lifestyle yang namanya fashion apa. Karena apa? Itu dia, fashion itu tren itu cepat. Jadi mereka mesti ngikutinya pakai platform cepat, yaitu platform digital. Nah kalau mau ngikutin trennya air minum, trennya minyak goreng, nggak ada trennya Bapak Ibu gitu loh. Jadi nggak menarik buat consumer Indonesia di sana. So ini ya tetap kalau Anda mau bisnis di e-commerce ya seperti ini. Cuma memang ya mesti kreatif lagi lah sedikit ya. Karena yang punya restoran saya katakan sekali lagi, wah Pak online delivery Pak, cloud kitchen sebentar. Oke, Indonesia itu ekonominya makin meningkat, duitnya makin banyak. Yang dia cari itu bukan makanan buat kenyang. Oke, yang dicari adalah experience, yang dicari adalah kuliner, hunting. Oke, berburu kuliner, itu dia tuh kata-kata. Yang dicari apa kalau udah berburu kuliner? Itu tempat, experience, bukan makanannya Pak gitu loh. Makanannya udah pasti enak-enak, ya udah pasti. Makanya saya bilang, oke, belum tentu online delivery itu kencang nanti ke depan gitu ya. Untuk beberapa segmen di kota-kota besar, oke, tapi nggak semua makanan juga bisa gitu loh. Ya di online delivery enak ya, paling enak tuh makan di tempat, fresh, crispy dan macam-macam gitu loh. Oke, indulgent saya lanjut aja, tetap ya healthy juga tetap Anda lihat ya, di masa pandemi kemarin jamu, wah orang nyerbu jamu, Anda lihat ya udah berapa bulan. Sama seperti vitamin ya, vitamin C juga demikian nih ya, begitu awal pandemik, wow laku sampai kita nggak nemu vitamin ya. Sekarang udah banyak produksi lah, kok malah sepi gitu istilahnya. Jamu juga sama, orang bilang the future is jamu. Enggak, Bapak Ibu, ini sementara. Orang Indonesia kan trendy di sini, ya. So intinya Anda lihat di sini, pedagang jamu dia bilang omset udah turun Pak. Orang udah nggak peduli corona, udah nggak peduli corona, udah nggak minum jamu lagi gitu loh. Jadi saya nggak tahu, ya. So intinya Anda lihat di sini, oke, ini gambaran yang saya berikan. Pre-COVID itu mau yang dicari apa? Experiential, social, offline dan macam-macam. During COVID, wah nggak bisa, di lockdown kok. Akhirnya nggak bisa shopping, dia biasanya buying. Limited virtual dan macam-macam. Nanti post COVID gimana? Oh, tinggal copy paste buat saya ya, tinggal geser yang dulu masukin ke depan lagi, balik lagi ke depan. Cuma bedanya apa? Anda akan tetap pakai masker ke depan ya, tetap pakai masker, cuci tangan, distancing di sana. Gitu istilahnya. Tapi behaviornya tetap sama di sana. Nanti ada vaksin, tetap akan sama, experience yang dicari semua seperti itu gitu ya. Tapi tetap kita coba menjaga diri di sana. Oke, last segmen di sini mengenai new economy di sini ya. Saya kasih lihat gambar di sini new economy apa? Cepat Bapak Ibu. Anda harus cepat di sini. Kalau nggak cepat nggak bisa win seperti itu. Oke. 3 hal. Kalau zaman dulu big it small. Oke, IBM lah semua itu big ya, it-nya small. Cuma udah nggak ada, nggak kedengeran. Karena apa? Yang menang adalah yang fast. Fast it slow, yang smart. Smart it dumb. Oke, dan mainnya di ekosistem. Makanya Anda punya usaha itu harus cepat, harus smart dalam prosesnya seperti itu. Jadi buat saya tadi yang dikatakan Paulo tadi, ya ini bukan soal online, e-commerce macam-macam, bukan. Gantilah bisnis model usaha Anda. Oke, ganti bisnis model, harus digitalisasi karena harus cepat seperti itu. Untuk smart, Ya, digitalisasi juga perlu data seperti itu gitu loh. Nah, McKinsey mengatakan ya, physical store itu tidak akan, is not going away anytime soon. Buat saya tambahin, ya bukan anytime soon lagi, for long time tidak akan going away, saya bilang gitu loh. Ya, masih akan bertahan. Ini yang main online aja juga udah kedodoran istilahnya. Sorry saya pakai kata-kata kedodoran, ya, karena kalau nggak didiskon, apa namanya, nggak belanja gitu, didiskon habis duitnya. Jadi dia terpaksa harus buka toko fisik seperti itu. Jadi pemain online ini buka fisik toko, mau nggak mau ke depan. Ya, so intinya take away dari saya punya bahan hari ini adalah consumer behavior akan balik lagi ke normal. Ya, tidak ada new normal, tidak ada next normal. Oke, ketika lockdown dibuka. Oke, fokus pada you tolong fokus pada track sales di sini ya, marketing di track yang benar ke depan. Jadi nggak usah pusing masalah yang lain-lain. Oke, develop real omnichannel. Tolong di develop real omnichannel dengan digitalisasi di sini. Tanpa digital nggak bisa omnichannel, gitu loh. Oke. Jadi ini yang approve siapa? Customer, bukan you ya. Yang bilang bahwa you adalah omnichannel itu adalah customer, bukan you. Oke. So prinsipnya dibuat seamless shopping buat mereka. Use data, menggunakan data untuk membuat plan tahun 2021. Kalau Anda mau 2021 mau mencelat dan masih belum pegang data customer, gimana mau jualan gitu istilahnya, ya kan? Gimana mau planning? Oke, perusahaan namanya suatu F&B ya kan, mau gimana mau targetin jualan burger promosinya, gimana mau jualin ayam goreng gitu istilahnya. Kalau nggak punya database-nya seperti itu gitu loh. Oke. 2020 Anda lihat di sini sales opportunity itu melebar ya, terbuka buat kita karena lockdown direlaksasi di sini. Dan saya yakinkan nggak akan ada lagi nih lockdown ke depan gitu loh. Oke. Kedua adalah mid upper class, dia punya duit nih. Ya. Tolong Anda perhatikan, duitnya banyak banget nih. Gimana ya? Anda punya produk yang bagus, cocok buat mereka, Anda bisa tawarkan ke mereka nih. Oke, ini duitnya banyak banget. Gimana Anda bisa secara agresif, minta tim Anda pikir secara agresif, gimana Anda komunikasi dan tawarkan. Seperti itu. Ketiga adalah konsumsi akan mulai, tapi memang slow. Ya, ini waktu itu ya, mungkin sebulan lalu waktu itu. Jadi safety dulu ya, selamatkan karyawan Anda semua seperti itu ya. Berkolaborasi lah ya, apalagi sini ya, lockdown adalah recovery mode di sana. Jadi ekspansi oke. Buat saya kalau Anda punya uang nggak ada masalah, ekspansi no problem ya. Teman-teman kita yang namanya range market itu kayaknya sebulan buka 3 nih udah di sini ya, buka 3 nih toko ya, macam-macam, ada gourmet dan macam-macam ekspansi di sana karena dia nggak ada masalah soal uang. Kedua adalah limited visitors. Ya, karena kita memang masih di limit, makanya pengusaha pada teriak-teriak, dibuka dong relaksasinya, boleh full, itu tepatnya ya. Ketiga adalah visitor confidence. So, prinsipnya, tamu kalau datang ke toko semua, tolong dipastikan, ya, tetap protokol, jangan lupa. Saya sering nih ke toko, ya, ada tamu datang nggak pakai masker, didiemin, seperti itu, nggak bisa. Oke, hilang confidence di sana. Terakhir adalah next format, piloting. Tolong bangun format-format baru. Oke, kalau bisa yang sudah langsung omnichannel di sana. Oke, langsung eksekusi, jangan kebanyakan bicara lah ya, omnichannel, tapi nggak ada eksekusi di sana. Jadi yang kita penting zaman sekarang adalah eksekusi di sini. Oke, sebagai test store. Oke, so intinya produksi gimana Pak? Ya, produksi, siapkan produksi barang-barang buat 2021, ini amunisi. Oke, so sehingga jangan kehabisan pelor nanti 2021. Oke, orang lain lagi panen, kita bengong saja seperti itu gitu loh ya. So, terakhir adalah affordable premium. Anda mau serang kelas menengah, tetap ya, metodenya adalah affordable premium. Barangnya terasa premium, tapi harganya affordable, terjangkau. Bukan mahal, bukan murah di sini. Oke, saya next saja di sana. Jadi yang mengembirakan buat kita, positive point adalah omnibus law. Oke, kedua adalah vaksin. Ketiga, investasi mudah-mudahan masuk di sini. Jadi dolar semua bagus semua, ya kan? Investor masuk, percaya Indonesia. Apalagi omnibus law-nya sudah menjadi PP dan jalan nanti, wah, lumayan lah gitu ya. Jadi saya berharap nih ya, mudah-mudahan Q2 udah berasa tuh akselerasi karena menjelang lebaran juga. Jadi udah mulai berasa di sana. Mudah-mudahan earlier ya, Februari seperti itu gitu loh. Oke, ke 2021 positioning assessment intinya akan baik, seamless shopping, lantas loyalty program. Anda fokus juga, sudah zamannya kita main database customer di sana ya. Create, jual sesuatu yang relevan. Jangan tawarin hal-hal yang tidak relevan kepada customer. Jangan buang-buang uang, blasting seperti itu. Harus targeted di sana. Jadi harus personalized. Nah, ini memerlukan suatu data di sana.